They say the first impression of a country sets the tone for your entire journey. And when you step into Zurich, Switzerland's largest city, you realize instantly that you've entered a world where old-world elegance collides with modern dynamism. The heart of Switzerland beats strongly here, with cobbled streets winding through medieval quarters, trams gliding past futuristic architecture, and the serene waters of Lake Zurich reflecting both history and innovation. Zurich isn't just a city, it's a gateway, a cultural compass pointing you toward the wonders of Switzerland. Walking through Zurich feels like flipping the pages of a living history book, yet each page is illuminated by modernity. In the Old Town, known as Altstadt, you're surrounded by centuries of heritage, narrow alleys where medieval guildhouses still stand, ornate clock towers striking time as they have for hundreds of years, and cathedrals like Grossmünster rising with twin spires that dominate the skyline. This church, according to legend, was founded by Charlemagne himself, and stepping inside, you can almost hear the echoes of the Reformation that once shook Europe. But Zurich isn't just about the past, it's a city that thrives in the present. Stroll down Bahnhofstrasse, one of the most luxurious shopping avenues in the world, where fashion houses and jewelry boutiques line the streets in an endless parade of elegance. Yet, just a few steps away, you'll find cozy cafes where locals sip their coffee slowly, enjoying life at their own pace. This duality, tradition and modern luxury, is what makes Zurich so magnetic. And then there's the water. Lake Zurich is the city's soul, its turquoise surface stretching into the horizon, framed by distant snow-capped peaks. In summer, locals dive into its clear waters, while boats glide effortlessly across its surface. In winter, the lake shimmers like a mirror, reflecting the frosted beauty of the surrounding landscape. Along its promenades, couples stroll hand in hand, cyclists whiz past, and the air carries the sweet scent of roasted chestnuts. If you're searching for the intellectual and cultural pulse of Switzerland, Zurich delivers it with flair. It's home to more than 50 museums and over 100 galleries. The Kunsthaus Zurich, with its impressive collection of Swiss masters like Alberto Giacometti, stands proudly alongside works from Van Gogh, Picasso, and Monet. For those fascinated by the wonders of science and technology, the Swiss National Museum takes you through centuries of history in a fairy tale-like castle. And for music lovers, the Tonhalle Orchestra offers performances that rival the great concert halls of Europe. But Zurich also knows how to surprise you with its green spaces. The city is dotted with gardens and parks, each a peaceful escape from urban life. The Botanical Garden, with its 15 species of plants, feels like a journey around the world in a single walk. The Lindenhof Hill, once a Roman fort, is today a tranquil spot where you can gaze across the rooftops of the old town, the Limmat River flowing gently below. Here, you feel the heartbeat of Zurich in its quietest form. As the sun sets, Zurich transforms once again. The narrow lanes of Niederdorf, alive with cafes, bars, and restaurants, light up with an atmosphere that is both lively and intimate. The aroma of fondue wafts through the air, mingling with the laughter of friends gathered at long wooden tables. Zurich's nightlife is legendary, cosmopolitan yet authentic, with jazz clubs, rooftop bars, and underground spots that make the night feel alive until dawn. And let's not forget, Zurich is a city of innovation and influence. As one of the world's financial centers, it's a hub of global commerce. But it's also a city deeply committed to sustainability and quality of life. Ranked among the most livable cities in the world, Zurich balances efficiency with serenity in a way that feels uniquely Swiss. It's a place where high-speed trains whisk you off to the Alps within hours, yet life never feels rushed. In Zurich, every moment feels like a promise of what lies ahead in Switzerland. It's a city that whispers history, sings culture, and dazzles with modernity all at once. From its shimmering lake to its ancient towers, from its bustling streets to its tranquil gardens, Zurich is more than just a starting point. It's a reminder that Switzerland is a land where beauty is not confined to the mountains alone. It thrives in its cities, in its people, and in the timeless balance between tradition and progress. This is Zurich, Switzerland's cosmopolitan gateway, where every step you take feels like the beginning of a story that only gets more extraordinary as you journey deeper into the country. If Zurich feels like Switzerland's cosmopolitan gateway, then Lucerne feels like the nation's soul, a living postcard where every corner seems painted with perfection. Imagine stepping into a town where history lingers on every bridge, where the Alps rise like guardians in the background, and where a crystal lake reflects a harmony between man and nature, so pure it feels unreal. Lucerne isn't just beautiful, it's timeless. And it's here that Switzerland reveals its softer, more romantic side. The very heart of Lucerne beats along its most iconic landmark, the Kapellbrücke, or Chapel Bridge. This 14th century wooden bridge, adorned with vibrant flower boxes, is more than a walkway across the Reuss River. It is a storybook in timber and paint. Inside, triangular paintings from the 17th century tell tales of Lucerne's past, of heroes, saints, and legends. As you walk its length, the soft creak of the wooden planks underfoot connects you to centuries of travelers who crossed here long before you. And nearby, the octagonal water tower stands tall, once used as a prison and treasury, now a symbol of endurance through the ages. But Lucerne isn't a city frozen in time. Step into the old town, and you'll find streets that curve around medieval squares, their facades painted with frescoes that transform entire buildings into works of art. Each corner reveals surprises: an ornate fountain, a guild house, or a cafe where locals linger over coffee as church bells echo through narrow lanes. There's something enchanting about Lucerne's pace. It moves slowly, inviting you to pause, to notice, to breathe. Then, just beyond the city streets, Lake Lucerne stretches out like a shimmering stage, framed by mountain peaks that seem to lean in to admire their own reflection. Its waters are so clear they mirror the sky, turning shades of blue and silver with every passing hour. Step aboard one of the elegant paddle steamers, and you're transported across the lake as if gliding through a painting. Villages dot the shoreline, their church spires rising gracefully against the backdrop of snow-dusted ridges. Every ripple of water carries with it a sense of calm, as though the lake itself whispers stories of centuries past. Of course, Lucerne isn't just about beauty, it's also about the drama of the Alps, which rise just beyond its borders. Take a journey up Mount Pilatus, the Dragon Mountain, whose rugged cliffs are steeped in legends of mythical creatures. The world's steepest cogwheel railway carries you to its summit, where panoramic views stretch as far as the Black Forest in Germany and the Jura Mountains of France. Or ride the cable car up Mount Rigi, often called the Queen of the Mountains. Here, sunrise paints the world in hues of gold and pink, and you feel as if you are standing on the edge of the heavens themselves. Lucerne also holds one of Switzerland's most moving monuments, the Lion of Lucerne. Carved directly into sandstone, this dying lion commemorates the Swiss guards who lost their lives during the French Revolution. Mark Twain once called it the most mournful and moving piece of stone in the world. Standing before it, you feel the depth of sorrow and sacrifice etched into every curve of the sculpture, a silent reminder of loyalty and loss. And yet, the city also knows how to celebrate life. Music fills its streets, especially during the Lucerne Festival, one of the world's premier classical music events. Here, orchestras and soloists from across the globe bring their talents to a stage set against the majesty of the Swiss Alps. For a moment, it feels as though the mountains themselves lean in to listen. As the day fades, Lucerne transforms again. The waters of the lake reflect the glow of lanterns and streetlights, while the mountains darken into silhouettes. Couples stroll along the lakeside promenade, the air scented with chocolate from nearby shops and the sound of laughter spilling from restaurants. The atmosphere is both intimate and grand, as though Lucerne itself understands the art of balancing stillness with vibrancy. What makes Lucerne truly unforgettable is the way it gathers everything Switzerland stands for: its history, its natural beauty, its culture into one perfect place. It's not the largest city, nor the busiest, but it's here that the heart of the nation beats most clearly. Lucerne is where the Alps meet the lake, where medieval charm meets modern life, and where every traveler finds themselves pausing, if only for a moment, to wonder if paradise might just be real. Lucerne is not just a destination. It is Switzerland, distilled, a place that proves beauty can be both delicate and powerful, fleeting and eternal. And once you've walked its bridges, sailed its waters, and stood at the feet of its mountains, you'll carry a piece of Lucerne with you forever. If Switzerland had a playground designed by the gods, it would be Interlaken. Imagine a valley carved perfectly between two glacial lakes, surrounded by towering snow-capped peaks that seem close enough to touch. This is not a destination where you simply arrive. This is a place where you feel the pulse of adventure the moment you step into it. Interlaken isn't just a town. It's the beating heart of adrenaline, a magnet for dreamers, explorers, and those who come in search of beauty that stirs the soul. Nestled between Lake Thun and Lake Brians, Interlaken is embraced by waters so pristine they shimmer in shades of turquoise and emerald. The lakes aren't just beautiful, they're alive, reflecting the moods of the sky, whispering stories of glaciers that shaped them thousands of years ago. From the shores, you can see the towering silhouette of the Bernese Alps, crowned by the mighty trio of peaks, Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau. These giants aren't just mountains, they're legends carved in stone. To stand here is to stand at the edge of eternity. But Interlaken is more than breathtaking views, it's a canvas for adventure. For thrill seekers, this is paradise. From skydiving over the lakes, where you leap into the void and freefall against a backdrop of glaciers, to paragliding from emerald hillsides, soaring like an eagle above villages, rivers, and forest. Interlaken promises experiences that stay etched into your memory forever. And for those who crave water over sky, the lakes invite you to kayak through still mornings, sail across windswept afternoons, or dive into waters as pure as melted snow. Every activity feels like stepping into a postcard that suddenly came alive. Yet, Interlaken is not just about adrenaline, it's also about connection. Walk through the streets of the town, and you'll find chalets with flower boxes spilling over with blooms, shops filled with Swiss watches and chocolates, and cafes where travelers from across the world pause to share stories. The air here carries an international spirit, blending Swiss traditions with the energy of global explorers who all find themselves drawn to the same magical crossroads. For many, the highlight of Interlaken isn't just the town itself, but the gateway it provides to one of Switzerland's greatest wonders, the Jungfraujoch, often called the top of Europe. The journey begins on a train, winding through meadows dotted with cows and wildflowers, before climbing higher into the embrace of snow and ice. And then, at 454 meters above sea level, you step onto the Jungfraujoch, where glaciers stretch endlessly beneath you, and the air is crisp with the scent of eternity. To gaze upon this frozen world is to witness the raw power and beauty of nature. Here, you are not just a traveler, you are a witness to creation itself. The region also whispers stories of tradition. In Lauterbrunnen Valley, just a short ride away, 72 waterfalls cascade down sheer cliffs, their waters tumbling with a roar that shakes the earth. Villages here seem untouched by time, wooden chalets, alpine meadows, and paths where cowbells echo against the rocks. Standing in Lauterbrunnen feels like stepping into a fairy tale, a world where beauty exists in its purest form. Interlaken, however, is more than scenery and sports. It's a place of contrasts. One moment, you might be sipping coffee on a lakeside terrace, watching boats glide across tranquil waters. The next, you're hiking a mountain ridge, where every step opens a new horizon. It's a town that adapts to every traveler's dream, whether you seek calm reflection or heart-pounding adventure. As evening falls, Interlaken glows with a different kind of magic. The sun dips behind the peaks, painting the sky in gold and crimson. The lakes reflect this fiery canvas, while lanterns begin to light the streets. Travelers gather in restaurants to enjoy Swiss fondue. Laughter mingles with the clinking of glasses, and the spirit of adventure softens into quiet joy. There's a sense here that every day is a gift, and every night a promise of more wonders to come. What makes Interlaken unforgettable is not just its natural beauty, but the way it makes you feel. It awakens something inside you, the child who once dreamed of flying, the explorer who longed to touch the unknown, the soul who yearned for freedom. Interlaken isn't simply a destination. It is an invitation to live more boldly, to see more deeply, and to remember that the world still holds places where dreams and reality are one and the same. Interlaken is the place where Switzerland dares you to push your limits, to soar higher, to dive deeper, to feel more alive than ever before. And once you've been here, you'll never forget it, because Interlaken is not just a stop on a journey. It is the moment your journey truly begins. There are mountains, and then there is the Matterhorn. Sharp, defiant, and unforgettable, this legendary peak is more than just a mountain. It is Switzerland's icon, its very soul carved in stone, rising to 478 meters. Its pyramid-shaped summit pierces the sky like a crown, so striking that it has inspired explorers, climbers, artists, and dreamers for centuries. And at the foot of this giant lies the charming village of Zermatt, a place where the wildness of nature and the warmth of alpine tradition meet in perfect harmony. Imagine arriving in Zermatt. There are no cars here, the air is free of exhaust, and silence reigns, broken only by the clatter of horse-drawn carriages, the hum of electric taxis, and the distant sound of cowbells drifting down from the meadows. The cobblestone streets are lined with wooden chalets, decorated with colorful flower boxes, their timbers weathered by time but glowing in the alpine sunday. Every corner feels like a painting, every street like a path leading to a story. And above it all, looming in the distance, is the Matterhorn, always watching, always magnificent. For many travelers, Zermatt is about experiencing the mountain in all its moods. At sunrise, the Matterhorn glows crimson, bathed in what locals call the alpenglow, a moment so breathtaking it feels as if the heavens themselves have opened. At midday, it stands bold against a sky of perfect blue, its snow-capped ridges glistening like silver. And at sunset, it transforms once more, cloaked in hues of gold and violet. Each hour of the day, the mountain tells a new story, and every visitor becomes part of it. Zermatt is also a paradise for those who crave adventure. The Gornergrat Railway takes you to one of the most spectacular viewpoints in the world, offering a panorama of 29 peaks soaring above 40 meters. From here, glaciers snake through valleys, and the Matterhorn stands proud, commanding respect. For hikers, trails wind through alpine meadows bursting with wildflowers, past sparkling lakes that mirror the mountain's jagged silhouette. And for climbers, Zermatt is sacred ground, the birthplace of mountaineering legends. The Matterhorn's first ascent in 1865 is a story of triumph and tragedy. Edward Whymper and his team made history when they stood on its summit, but their victory was shadowed by the fall of 4 men during the descent. To this day, the Matterhorn demands reverence, reminding us that nature is both beautiful and unforgiving. Walking through Zermatt, you'll find monuments honoring these pioneers, their courage forever intertwined with the mountain's legacy. But Zermatt is not only for the fearless climber, it is also for those who seek to marvel without risk. The Klein Matterhorn cable car, known as the highest cableway in Europe, whisks visitors up to a staggering 883 meters. From the glacier paradise, you can step into a world of ice tunnels, sculptures, and sweeping views that stretch across the Alps, all the way to Mont Blanc in France and the peaks of Italy. It feels like standing at the top of the world, suspended between earth and sky. In winter, Zermatt becomes a snow-covered wonderland. Skiers carve down pristine slopes, snowboarders dance across powder fields, and après-ski culture fills the evenings with laughter and warmth. The slopes are legendary, not only for their scale, but for the view they offer. Where else can you glide down a mountain with the Matterhorn looming like a guardian at your side? And when the snow melts, Zermatt transforms once again, offering summer adventures of hiking, mountain biking, and paragliding over fields so green they almost defy belief. The village itself is a treasure. Its streets buzz with life-cozy restaurants serving traditional raclette and fondue, shops displaying world-famous Swiss watches, and bakeries where the aroma of fresh bread and chocolate tempts you at every turn. Despite its fame, Zermatt has kept its soul. It is both luxurious and simple, a place where modern comfort meets timeless alpine charm. But perhaps what makes Zermatt and the Matterhorn truly unforgettable is the way they stir something deep inside. To stand in the presence of this mountain is to be humbled, to be reminded of both the grandeur of the earth and the smallness of human ambition. The Matterhorn does not bend, it does not yield, it does not change, it is eternal. And yet, in its shadow, people find inspiration, courage, and a sense of wonder that stays with them long after they leave. As night falls in Zermatt, stars scatter across the sky, and the mountain becomes a dark silhouette against the heavens. The village glows softly with lantern light, and the air carries the scent of wood smoke and alpine pine. It is quiet, peaceful, timeless. And in that silence, you realize why so many travelers come here, again and again, not just to see the Matterhorn, but to feel it, to carry a piece of its majesty in their hearts forever. The Matterhorn is not just Switzerland's most famous mountain. It is a symbol of human aspiration, a reminder of the delicate balance between daring and respect, and above all, a wonder that defines the very essence of the Alps. To see it once is to be changed forever. There are places that feel like paintings brought to life, and then there is Lake Geneva, stretching like a shimmering mirror at the foot of the Alps. Its waters reflect not only mountains and skies, but also centuries of history, art, and human dreams. On its shores lies Montreux, a town so enchanting that musicians, poets, and travelers from across the world have been drawn here to capture a taste of its magic. This is not just a destination, it is an experience that touches the senses and awakens the soul. As the sun rises, Lake Geneva glows like liquid gold. Gentle waves lap against the promenade, and swans glide effortlessly across the water's surface. The air is soft, carrying with it the scent of blooming flowers and fresh mountain breeze. In the distance, snow-dusted peaks rise dramatically, creating a scene so perfect it feels surreal. And in the heart of this paradise is Montreux, a jewel of western Switzerland, known for its elegance, culture, and timeless charm. Walking through Montreux feels like stepping into another world. Palm trees line the lakeside promenade, exotic flowers bloom in vibrant colors, and sculptures and artworks adorn every corner. It is a place where Mediterranean warmth meets alpine majesty, where every turn reveals a new surprise. The rhythm of life here is slow and graceful, yet filled with energy, especially when the famous Montreux Jazz Festival fills the streets with music that echoes across the lake. But Montreux is more than beauty and music. It is a gateway to stories that stretch back through centuries. Just a short walk along the lake brings you to Chillon Castle, perhaps the most romantic fortress in all of Europe. Rising dramatically from the water's edge, its towers and walls seem to float upon the lake. Inside, stone corridors, grand halls, and medieval dungeons whisper tales of knights, dukes, and prisoners. Lord Byron, the great poet, immortalized its shadowed halls in his writings, ensuring that Chillon's legacy would live far beyond Switzerland's borders. Standing there, gazing at its reflection in the lake, you feel as if you've stepped into the pages of a legend. The lake itself is alive with possibilities. In summer, sailboats dot its surface, their white sails glowing in the sun as they glide across waters that shift from sapphire blue to emerald green. Ferries carry passengers between Swiss towns and French villages along the opposite shore, reminding you that this lake is not just a jewel of Switzerland, but a shared wonder between nations. In winter, mist drifts across the water, giving the scene a quiet, almost mystical beauty. Each season transforms Lake Geneva into something new, something unforgettable. And above it all, Montreux offers a backdrop of rolling vineyards that climb the hillsides. The Lavaux Vineyards, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, are terraced masterpieces carved by human hands over centuries. Here, wine has been cultivated since Roman times, and to sip a glass while overlooking the lake is to taste history itself. Rows of vines stretch endlessly toward the horizon, glowing golden in the autumn light, as if the earth itself is celebrating abundance and life. For those who seek adventure, Montreux is a starting point to ascend into the mountains. The Rochers-Denay Railway climbs steeply from the lakeshore to over 20 meters, offering views that take your breath away. From the top, Lake Geneva spreads out like a sheet of glass, framed by the jagged peaks of the Alps and the Jura. It is a view that makes you realize how small we are, and yet how deeply connected to the beauty of the world around us. Montreux has long been a haven for dreamers. Freddie Mercury, the legendary singer of Queen, made this town his sanctuary. Today, a statue of him stands proudly on the lakeside promenade, gazing out over the waters he once called home. His presence is still felt here, not just in the monument, but in the spirit of Montreux itself, bold, creative, and timeless. Many say that when you stand by his statue, with the lake behind him and the mountains beyond, you can almost hear the echo of his voice blending with the breeze. As day turns to night, Montreux transforms once again. Lights twinkle along the promenade, their reflections dancing across the water. Restaurants and cafes fill with laughter, the aroma of Swiss cuisine drifting into the air. And on clear evenings, the stars above mirror the lights below, creating a scene so breathtaking it feels as if the heavens themselves have descended upon the lake. But what makes Lake Geneva and Montreux so unforgettable is not just their beauty, their history, or their music. It is the feeling they leave within you, a sense of serenity, of connection, of being part of something eternal. Here, surrounded by water, mountains, and culture, time seems to pause. And in that pause, you find yourself truly alive, present in a moment of pure wonder. Lake Geneva is not simply a body of water, and Montreux is not simply a town. Together, they are a living masterpiece, a harmony of nature and humanity, a place where dreams and reality blend seamlessly. To stand here, to breathe this air, to walk these shores, is to understand why travelers from every corner of the globe are drawn back again and again. For in Montreux, at the edge of Lake Geneva, the world feels both infinite and intimate, eternal and fleeting, all at once. There are places on this earth where nature seems to have poured out all its creativity, blending mountains, lakes, and valleys into a single breathtaking canvas. Interlaken is one such place, a land where adventure meets serenity, where the air feels charged with both adrenaline and peace. Nestled between two sapphire lakes, with towering snow-covered peaks rising all around, Interlaken is not just a destination. It is the beating heart of Switzerland's spirit of exploration. From the moment you arrive, Interlaken captivates you with its contrasts. On one side lies Lake Thun, with its deep blue waters, framed by medieval castles and charming villages. On the other side rests Lake Brienz, glowing turquoise under the alpine sun, its surface so clear it seems almost unreal. Between them stretches the town itself, its streets alive with cafes, chalets, and travelers from all corners of the world. And rising above, like guardians of the horizon, are the giants of the Bernese Alps, the Eiger, Mensch, and Jungfrau, their snow caps gleaming in the sunlight. It is this unique setting that makes Interlaken the adventure capital of Switzerland. Here, the mountains are not distant, they are an invitation. Every day, travelers strap on their gear and take to the skies, the rivers, the trails, and the cliffs. Paragliders drift effortlessly above the town, their colorful sails painting the sky. From below, you watch them glide like birds against the backdrop of glaciers. And for a moment, you too feel your spirit lifting into the heavens. On the ground, adventure continues. Hikers set out on trails that wind through alpine meadows, where wildflowers bloom in bursts of color and cowbells echo gently across the hillsides. Each path leads to vistas more astonishing than the last waterfalls cascading down sheer cliffs, forests thick with pine and spruce, and glacial rivers rushing with pure, icy water. For those who seek a challenge, mountain climbing offers a chance to stand on the very shoulders of Switzerland's giants, to feel the raw power of stone and snow beneath your hands. But Interlaken is not only for the daring. Its beauty can be savored at any pace. A boat ride across Lake Brienz or Lake Thun reveals villages where time seems to stand still quiet, chalets with flower-filled balconies, steeples rising above rooftops, and castles that seem to have stepped out of fairy tales. Schloss Oberhofen, with its elegant tower stretching into Lake Thun, or Schloss Spies, surrounded by vineyards and mountains, remind you that Switzerland's history is as rich as its landscapes. And then there are the trains, marvels of engineering that climb to heights where few places on Earth dare to go. The Jungfrau Railway takes you from the valley floor up through tunnels carved into the Eiger itself, all the way to Jungfrau Joch, the top of Europe. Standing at over 400 meters, you are surrounded by a world of snow and ice, glaciers stretching endlessly into the distance. The silence up here is unlike any other, broken only by the wind and the crunch of snow underfoot. It is a place that makes you feel both small and infinite, humbled yet empowered by the majesty of nature. Back in Interlaken, the energy shifts with the setting Sunday. The town comes alive with warmth and charm. Streets fill with the aromas of Swiss cuisine fondue bubbling in copper pots, resti crisping on skillets, and fresh chocolate displayed like treasures in shop windows. Travelers share stories of their day's adventures, their laughter mixing with the sounds of traditional Swiss music drifting from inns and restaurants. It is a reminder that while Interlaken is a gateway to untamed landscapes, it is also a place of comfort, hospitality, and connection. Winter brings another face to Interlaken's wonders. Snow blankets the mountains, and skiers and snowboarders flock to nearby slopes. Frozen lakes glisten under pale sunlight, while the forests turn into enchanted realms where every branch sparkles with frost. Sleigh rides, snowshoe treks, and cozy chalets by crackling fires make this season as magical as any fairy tale. Each moment feels like stepping into a snow globe, where time slows and the world is reduced to pure, white beauty. What makes Interlaken unforgettable is not just its landscapes or its adventures, but its spirit. It is a place that awakens something inside you, a hunger for exploration, a joy for life, a gratitude for the sheer privilege of standing in the presence of such majesty. Whether you are soaring through the skies, climbing peaks, cruising across lakes, or simply standing still and taking it all in, Interlaken leaves an imprint on your soul. Here, in this valley between lakes, under the watchful gaze of mountains older than time, you discover not just Switzerland, but yourself. Interlaken teaches you that life is not meant to be hurried, nor feared, but embraced with open arms, wild courage, and quiet wonder. And as you finally leave, you know that a part of your heart will always remain here, nestled between Thun and Brienz, soaring with the winds above the Alps. There are cities that dazzle with skyscrapers and bright lights, and there are those that whisper stories through their cobblestones, their bridges, and their lakes. Lucerne is the latter, a city that feels as if it was painted into existence, where history and nature meet in perfect harmony. Nestled on the shores of a crystal-clear lake, with the mighty peaks of Mount Pilatus and Mount Rigi rising in the distance, Lucerne is the gateway to the Alps, and one of Switzerland's most enchanting treasures. The first thing that strikes you about Lucerne is its timeless beauty. The water of Lake Lucerne shimmers like glass, reflecting clouds that drift lazily across the sky. Swans glide gracefully along the surface, their white feathers glowing against the turquoise water. As you walk along the lakeside promenade, the air carries a freshness that feels both calming and alive. It is here, with the Alps standing guard in the distance, that you realize Lucerne is not just a place, it is a storybook come to life. At the heart of this story is the Kapellbrücke, the Chapel Bridge, one of Europe's oldest covered wooden bridges. Built in the 14th century, it stretches diagonally across the River Reuss, its roof adorned with colorful paintings depicting Swiss history. Walking across, you feel the creak of wood beneath your feet and the presence of centuries past lingering in the air. Nearby stands the water tower, once a prison, now a symbol of the city's resilience. Together, they form one of the most iconic images of Switzerland, as though the past itself has been frozen in time for the present to cherish. Lucerne is a city that thrives on contrasts. Its medieval old town, with narrow streets and painted facades, is filled with charm and history. Frescoes adorn centuries-old buildings, telling tales of legends and heroes. Yet just beyond lies modern Lucerne, alive with theaters, concert halls, and contemporary art. The KKL Lucerne, a glass and steel masterpiece designed by architect Jean Nouvel, rises beside the lake as a temple of music where the world-renowned Lucerne Festival brings classical harmonies to the city each year. This blend of past and present is what makes Lucerne so magnetic. It is both deeply rooted and ever-evolving. But the city is more than its architecture. Its soul is found in its connection to nature. Lake Lucerne, with its twisting arms and hidden coves, invites exploration. Ferries and paddle steamers glide across its surface, carrying travelers to picturesque villages like Weggis and Witznau. Each journey across the lake feels like stepping into a painting, where mountains plunge directly into the water and sunlight sparkles on every ripple. And then, towering above, is Mount Pilatus, a mountain of legend. Myths speak of dragons once living in its caves, their spirits still lingering among the cliffs and forests. Today, you can ascend Pilatus by the world's steepest cogwheel railway, climbing through forests, meadows, and rock walls, until you stand at 132 meters above sea level. From the summit, the view stretches across Lake Lucerne, the Alps, and even as far as the Black Forest in Germany. The air is crisp, the silence profound, and you feel as if you are standing at the very edge of the world. Equally enchanting is Mount Rigi, known as the Queen of the Mountains. From its summit, reached by cogwheel train or cable car, sunrise is an experience unlike any other. As dawn breaks, golden light spills across the Alps, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. The lake below glows softly, and the world feels reborn in that single, fleeting moment. It is a reminder that Switzerland is not just about what you see, but about how it makes you feel alive, connected, and humbled by beauty. Back in Lucerne, the rhythm of life flows gently. Market squares buzz with vendors selling fresh cheese, bread, and local delicacies. Street performers fill the air with music, blending with the murmur of the Reuss River. Cafes serve steaming cups of coffee and hot chocolate, inviting you to linger and watch life unfold. And as evening falls, lights dance across the lake, reflecting the glow of the city in shimmering patterns that make the water itself seem alive. Lucerne also holds a place of solemn reflection. The Lion Monument, carved into a sandstone cliff, honors Swiss guards who died in service during the French Revolution. The wounded lion, resting yet noble, is one of the most moving sculptures in the world, spread out before you. Lucerne reminds you that wonder is not found in rushing, but in simply being. In Lucerne, the Alps are not just mountains, they are companions. The lake is not just water, it is a mirror of the soul. And the city is not just a destination, it is a memory waiting to be made. It is here, in this magical meeting point of history and nature, that Switzerland reveals one of its most enchanting faces, a place where every moment feels timeless, and every step is a journey into wonder. Some cities wear their history like a crown, others whisper it softly through winding streets and ancient stone. Bern, the capital of Switzerland, does both. It is a city where medieval charm flows hand in hand with modern vibrance, where cobblestone lanes lead you into stories centuries old, and where the gentle Aar River wraps itself around the old town like an emerald ribbon. To walk through Bern is to step into a living time capsule, one that breathes, evolves, and yet never loses its timeless soul. From the very first glimpse, Bern surprises you. Unlike many capitals that rush with noise and haste, Bern feels calm, measured, and graceful. Its old town, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, stretches across a peninsula of stone, its arcaded streets lined with sandstone buildings that glow golden in the sunlight. These arcades, stretching nearly 6 kilometers, form one of the longest covered promenades in Europe. Here, you can stroll for hours, sheltered from rain or snow, discovering artisan shops, cafes, bookstores, and boutiques tucked beneath ancient arches. And yet, while the streets hum with daily life, the city never loses its medieval essence. Towering above the skyline is the Bern Minster, Switzerland's tallest cathedral. Its spire soars 100 meters high, and climbing to the top rewards you with sweeping views of the Alps on clear days. Inside, Gothic arches rise majestically, stained glass windows burst with color, and centuries-old stone tells the story of faith, resilience, and craftsmanship. Each step inside this cathedral feels like a passage deeper into time itself. But Bern is not only about stone and silence, it is also alive with playful charm. The famous Zickglock, or clock tower, stands proudly in the heart of the old town. Every hour, tourists gather to watch its ancient astronomical clock spring into motion, with dancing figures, crowing roosters, and chiming bells. Built in the 13th century, it has long been a symbol of Bern's identity, and today, it continues to captivate just as it did hundreds of years ago. And then there are the bears, the very creatures that gave Bern its name. Legend says that the city's founder vowed to name it after the first animal he hunted here, and that animal was a bear. Today, Bern honors its namesake with the Bären Park, where real bears roam in a spacious, natural enclosure along the river. To watch them play and wander is to glimpse a living emblem of the city's past, present, and spirit. The Aare River is Bern's lifeline, and it gives the city much of its magic. In summer, locals and travelers alike float down its clear, turquoise waters, carried gently by the current past the medieval bridges and stone walls. Swimming in the Aare is not just a pastime. It is a tradition, a ritual, a celebration of life in Bern. Standing on the Nidegg Bridge, watching the river sparkle in the sunlight, you can see how deeply this city is intertwined with its natural surroundings. Yet Bern is also a city of intellect and innovation. It was here that Albert Einstein lived and worked, his modest apartment now a museum. In these very streets, he developed theories that would change the world forever. To walk past his home is to feel the hum of genius that still lingers, a reminder that Bern is not only about history but also about the ideas that shape the future. Season after season, Bern reveals different faces. In spring, flowers spill over balconies and parks glow with fresh greenery. In summer, open-air cafes line the streets, music drifts through the air, and the river is alive with swimmers. Autumn brings a golden glow to the sandstone buildings, leaves swirling along cobblestones, and vineyards nearby heavy with grapes. Winter transforms Bern into a fairy tale, with Christmas markets filling the arcades, lights glowing softly in the snow, and the scent of mulled wine carrying warmth through the frosty air. What makes Bern truly remarkable is the way it blends serenity with significance. As the capital of Switzerland, it houses the federal parliament, perched proudly above the river. Yet even here, politics does not overshadow peace. The Bundeshaus, with its domed roof, stands not as a monument of power, but as a reminder of Switzerland's unique balance between governance and harmony. In the end, Bern is more than a capital city. It is a place where time moves differently, slower, more gracefully, as if inviting you to notice the details you might otherwise miss. The worn stones beneath your feet, the quiet rhythm of the clock tower, the laughter of swimmers in the river, the proud gaze of the bears, each is a piece of the city's soul, woven together into something unforgettable. Bern does not overwhelm, it embraces. It does not shout, it sings softly. And in its song, you find a melody of history, nature, tradition, and life itself. To visit Bern is not simply to see Switzerland's capital. It is to step into a place where past and present flow together as smoothly as the Aare, carrying you gently forward and leaving behind a memory that feels eternal. There are mountains, and then there is the Matterhorn. Sharp, solitary, and iconic, it rises above the Swiss Alps like a jagged pyramid carved by the hand of time itself. Few peaks on earth inspire such awe, such reverence, and such longing. To see it is to witness nature at its most dramatic and pure. This is Zermatt, the gateway to the Matterhorn, a village that lives and breathes in the shadow of the mountain, where every street, every chalet, and every heartbeat is connected to that towering summit. Imagine arriving in Zermatt. The air is crisp, the bells of grazing cows echo across green meadows, and in the distance, the Matterhorn pierces the sky with an almost otherworldly presence. Its peak, often dusted with snow, glows golden at sunrise and blushes pink at sunset. For centuries, climbers have dreamed of reaching its summit, and while the mountain commands respect and danger, it has also given Zermatt a spirit unlike any other. Zermatt itself is unlike most alpine towns. Cars are forbidden here, preserving the peace and purity of the mountain air. Instead, small electric taxis and horse-drawn carriages glide quietly along cobbled streets lined with traditional wooden chalets. Each balcony overflows with bright red geraniums, and every corner reveals cozy cafes, rustic inns, and shops selling the warm charm of Swiss tradition. The rhythm of Zermatt is slower, more deliberate, as if the village itself is in tune with the mountain's heartbeat. But Zermatt is not only about quiet beauty, it is also about adventure. The Gornergrat Railway, one of the most scenic train journeys in the world, winds its way up through forests and alpine meadows, climbing higher and higher until it delivers you to a breathtaking panorama. From the summit, you are surrounded by more than 29 peaks soaring above 40 meters. And there, rising above them all, is the Matterhorn, majestic, solitary, and unforgettable. For those who crave even more, the Klein Matterhorn cable car lifts you to the highest cable car station in Europe. Up here, you stand on the edge of glaciers, with icy winds on your face and an endless ocean of peaks stretching before you. It is a place where the world feels infinite, where every breath reminds you how small and yet how alive you are. The Matterhorn itself has a story that is as legendary as its shape. For centuries, it was considered unclimbable, its sheer ridges too treacherous to conquer. But in 1865, a team led by Edward Whymper reached the summit, though their triumph ended in tragedy, with 4 climbers falling to their deaths on the descent. That day cemented the Matterhorn's place in history, a symbol of human ambition, courage, and the risks we take in pursuit of greatness. Today, hundreds still attempt the climb each year, though the mountain remains a formidable challenge, demanding respect from all who dare approach it. But you don't have to climb the Matterhorn to feel its magic. In Zermatt, it reveals itself in countless ways. Perhaps it's the reflection of its pyramid in the still waters of the Riffelsee Lake, or the way its silhouette cuts sharply against the Milky Way on a clear night. Perhaps it's in the stories told by locals, who speak of the mountain not just as a landmark, but as a living presence that shapes their lives. Beyond the Matterhorn, Zermatt is a playground for every season. In summer, hiking trails wind through wildflower meadows and alpine forests, with marmots peeking curiously from the rocks. In winter, Zermatt becomes a world-class ski destination, with slopes that connect across the border into Italy, offering some of the most extensive and scenic skiing in the Alps. The village transforms into a glowing snow globe, with warm lights shining against the cold white of the mountains, creating an atmosphere that feels straight out of a fairy tale. And then there is the food. The warmth of the Swiss Alps, brought to life in every dish. Fondue, raclette, and hearty mountain fare taste different here, more authentic, more comforting, because they are served in the very shadow of the mountain that has defined this land for generations. Sitting by a fire, with melted cheese and the scent of wood smoke in the air, you feel what Zermatt is truly about. Not just the mountain, but the life it inspires. What makes Zermatt and the Matterhorn so unforgettable is the way they touch both heart and spirit. This is not just a mountain, it is a monument to nature's power and beauty. This is not just a village, it is a community that has found balance between tradition, adventure, and respect for the land. The Matterhorn is more than a peak. It is a symbol of aspiration, of resilience, of the eternal pull between man and mountain. To stand before it is to feel small, but also to feel profoundly alive. And when you leave Zermatt, its shape remains etched in your memory, as sharp and clear as the day you first saw it. The Matterhorn does not just tower over Switzerland, it defines it. And in Zermatt, the wonder of that mountain becomes something you carry with you forever. There are places in the world where nature feels untouched, where wilderness reigns supreme, and where every sound, every scent, every gust of wind reminds you that this land belongs not to us, but to the earth itself. In Switzerland, that sacred place is the Swiss National Park, a living masterpiece of raw beauty and untamed wilderness. Tucked away in the remote Engadin Valley, this is the country's only official national park, and stepping into it feels like stepping back in time, into a Switzerland that existed long before villages, railways, or tourism. From the very first moment you enter, the rules are clear. Here, nature comes first. No camping, no picking flowers, no feeding animals, not even stepping off the marked trails. At first, it feels strict, but soon, you'll understand why. This is not just a park, it is a sanctuary, a promise to preserve the Alps exactly as they are, wild and free, for generations to come. The Swiss National Park is not meant to be conquered or consumed, it is meant to be respected. The landscape is breathtaking in its variety. Jagged limestone peaks rise dramatically above deep valleys. Alpine meadows burst with wildflowers in summer, painting the slopes with yellows, purples, and reds. Large forests cloak the hillsides, their needles glowing gold in autumn sunlight. In winter, snow transforms the park into a silent, crystalline wonderland, where only the footprints of wild animals break the stillness. Every season here tells a different story, and each one is worth experiencing. But perhaps what makes the Swiss National Park truly extraordinary is its wildlife. This is a place where nature still rules, where animals roam freely, without fear of human interference. High on the cliffs, sure-footed ibex cling to impossible ledges, their curved horns silhouetted against the sky. Red deer move gracefully through the forests, their antlers branching like ancient trees. Marmots whistle from the meadows, warning their families of approaching footsteps, while golden eagles soar above, scanning the valleys with sharp eyes. If you are lucky, you may spot a bearded vulture, one of Europe's rarest and most magnificent birds, with wings that stretch nearly 3 meters wide. Once extinct in Switzerland, it has returned thanks to careful conservation, and to see it glide across the alpine sky is to witness a miracle of resilience. Every animal here, from the tiniest insect to the largest predator, is a reminder that life thrives best when left undisturbed. Hiking in the Swiss National Park is unlike hiking anywhere else in Switzerland. The trails are rugged, winding through forests, across rocky ridges, and up to panoramic viewpoints that reveal the untouched beauty of the Engadin. There are no restaurants along the way, no ski lifts, no man-made comforts. Just you, your footsteps, and the rhythm of the mountains. It is a humbling experience, one that strips away distractions and reconnects you with the essence of nature. The silence here is profound. At first, it feels almost overwhelming, but soon, it becomes comforting. You hear the rustle of leaves, the trickle of hidden streams, the distant rumble of falling rocks. At night, under a canopy of stars, the park feels infinite. In these moments, you realize that this place is not about spectacle, it is about presence. The Swiss National Park teaches you to listen, to observe, to feel. It is also a place of scientific importance. Established in 1914, it is one of the oldest national parks in Europe and has been carefully protected for over a century. Scientists from around the world come here to study ecosystems, climate, and wildlife behavior in a setting undisturbed by human influence. Every tree that falls, every river that shifts course, every animal that lives or dies here is part of a larger, ongoing story of life in the Alps. And yet, despite its rules and restrictions, the Swiss National Park does not feel closed off. On the contrary, it feels like an invitation to witness nature as it was meant to be. It challenges you to slow down, to observe the small details, the way the sunlight filters through pine branches, the way wildflowers sway in the breeze, the way the mountains change color as the day passes. Visiting the Swiss National Park is not about adrenaline. It is not about luxury. It is about reverence. It is about remembering that beyond our cities, our technology, and our comforts, there exists a world that is beautiful precisely because it is untamed. As you leave, you carry with you not just memories, but perspective. The park reminds you that Switzerland's wonders are not only found in its glittering cities, its elegant lakes, or its iconic peaks. They are also found in its wild heart, in a place where humans step aside and let nature lead. The Swiss National Park is not just Switzerland's only national park. It is its soul, a soul that whispers, protect what is wild, respect what is sacred, and never forget that the greatest wonder of all is nature itself. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.